a journey into the macabre, where reality blurs with nightmares. This is the Para-Murder Cast, where the unseen becomes the unforgettable. Now to your hosts, Dave, Daniel, and CJ. Let the horrors begin.
Welcome back. We are going to get into part 2 of the Son of Sam, but first, your hosts, as always.
I'm Daniel.
I'm David.
And that leaves me being CJ this week.
Because last week you were David, and that was very confusing.
Before we get into this, and we're going to be getting into the second letter the Son of Sam sent in, let's first talk about a viewer question. What do you feel, or how do you feel about the media, people giving these names to the serial killers?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. Dubbing or titling the serial killer's name?
Dubbing, titling, heinous acts.
I'm actually a very avid supporter of the new movement nowadays to completely exclude their names or anything to do with them entirely.
Boo. Boo.
I mean, you can say boo, but it's like, I mean, especially nowadays, man, with like school shooters and stuff, like a lot of them do it for infamy.
Yeah, the sensationalism.
Yeah.
And they don't fucking deserve it. I agree.
Yeah, they don't deserve it. I don't think we should mention their name. I don't think we should give power to it, which is kind of
detrimental to this, at least half of this podcast.
I was getting ready to say, so don't get me wrong. I think researching, you should definitely talk about them, right? But I think as in like major news stations, I think they should shun away from it, right? We should definitely still openly talk about cases. We should definitely still name them, talk about their psychosis or what have you that led them to be a serial killer, a spree killer, or a shooter, because those are the things to where are going to help us eventually help people that have a form of psychopathy, is the fact that we openly talk about it. And I mean, of course, there's the morbid curiosity, right? Everybody still wants to know the scoop or the story.
Yeah, but you don't need to be out there. Well, residents of Buffalo today have dubbed the Buffalo Bullet Rider after his second mass shooting. Yeah, we don't need that shit.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be front news, front of the newspaper. It doesn't need to be on every news station. It can quietly go to a podcaster or quietly go to some author who's going to write a book about it. Like, I get it, right? Like, after, there should be time, a lapse of time in between it, to put it that way. You know what I mean? Because they want to see their rise to stardom, right? And if you wait 20 years before it's nationally covered, it's going to take a lot of steam out of that cell.
Yeah, they go to prison or they get the death penalty or whatever, and after that, and be like, the piece of shit fun time ruiner has finally died after 50 years in prison.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can cover it all you want. I don't know. Or if you are going to cover it, just make sure that you call him a piece of shit 55 times in one sentence.
Well, the media can't just come out and say, oh, this dude's a piece of shit, but they could be all like,
unless you're the piece of shit killer.
Yeah.
Well, they can't say certain words.
No, I get it. You get what I'm saying.
Like,
just nix his name right out of it. Just be like, and in other news, the shooting that happened in Buffalo this weekend, you know what I mean, was perpetrated by one suspect.
Buffalo Weekend Blaster. Boom, yeah. I just named him. I mean, if the news doesn't do it, the public will.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching the trial of that Nick guy. I forget his name, but he ended up getting jumped almost by a bunch of teenagers in the river, and he stabbed a couple of them, and one of them died. And I remember watching the live stream of his trial, and people were just spamming Apple River Ripper. Apple River Ripper. The Apple River Ripper. That's
I seen some of that trial the other day. The kid with the scar up his stomach.
Yeah, they could be like, convicted felon Clint Eastwood was sentenced today after admitting to the 6 murders of blah, blah, blah over such and... Like, they don't need to be like, are you lucky punk killer?
Get
Yeah, they
off
should-
my
was
lawn.
finally convicted.
I hate when they, I'm pretty sure, didn't the Zodiac Killer call himself the Zodiac Killer? And that's why they started? Or,
Didn't the son of Sam
Yeah.
call him the
but
son of Sam?
Yeah, they were calling him the 44 Killer until he called himself the son of Sam. So
Yeah.
they shouldn't let them have their own double
Yeah, you
monikers,
should
'cause
change
you know
it.
there's satisfaction
Change it
they're
immediately. As soon
deriving
as
from
he's
that.
like, I go by the son of Sam. And you go, this
No.
guy known as Bob. You know what I mean? Like, just fucking give him something stupid.
son of Samantha.
Yeah,
Then
son of
take it away.
Samantha.
No, you've ruined it. Prepare for my next angry letter.
Next angry letter.
Good
Which,
segue, man. Let's get on into the letter that he sent to Jimmy Breslin.
all right, on May 30th, 1977, Daily News columnist Jimmy Breslin received a handwritten letter from someone who claimed to be the 44 caliber killer. The letter was postmarked early on the same day in Englewood, New Jersey. On the reverse of the envelope, neatly handprinted in 4 precisely centered lines, were the words, blood and family, darkness and death, absolute depravity, 44. The letter inside read, hello from the gutters of New York City, which are filled with dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood. Hello from the sewers of NYC, which swallow up these delicacies when they are washed away by the sweeper trucks. Hello from the cracks in the sidewalks of NYC, from the ants that dwell in these cracks and feed in the dried blood of the dead that has settled in the cracks. JB, I'm just dropping you a line to let you know that I appreciate your interest in those recent and horrendous 44 killings. I also want to tell you that I read your column daily, and I find it quite informative. Tell me, Jim, what will you have for July 29th? You can forget about me if you like, because I don't care for publicity. However, you must not forget Donna Loria, and you cannot let these people forget her either. She was a very, very sweet girl, but Sam's a thirsty lad, and he won't let me stop killing until he gets his fill of blood. Mr. Breslin, sir, don't think that because you haven't heard from me in a while that I went to sleep. No, rather, I am still here, like a spirit roaming the night, thirsty, hungry, seldom stopping to rest, anxious to please Sam. I love my work. Now, the void has been filled. Perhaps we shall meet face to face someday, or perhaps I will be blown away by cops with smoking 38s. Whatever. If I shall be fortunate enough to meet you, I will tell you all about Sam if you like, and I will introduce you to him. His name is Sam the Terrible. Not knowing what the future holds, I shall say farewell, and I will see you at the next job. Or should I say, you will see my handiwork next job. Remember Miss Loria. Thank you. In their blood and from the gutter, Sam's creation. 44 here are some names to help you along. Forward them to the inspector for use by the NCIC, the Duke of Death, the Wicked King Wicker, the 22 Disciples of Hell, John Wheaties, rapist and suffocator of young girls. P.S. JB, please inform all the detectives working the case that I wish them the best of luck. Keep them digging. Drive on. Think positive. Get off your butts. Knock on coffins, etc. Upon my capture, I promise to buy all the guys working the case a new pair of shoes if I can get the money. Son of Sam. Underneath Son of Sam was a logo or sketch that combined several symbols.
Yeah, he was kind of playing with the idea of a logo.
This was a lot better than his last letter. It seems like the first letter he wrote while on drugs, or some combination of drugs. This one seems to kind of hint at the above average intelligence he was supposedly to have had.
He certainly put a little more thought into this one.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was in psychosis on the first letter. And then in this one, you know, he was a lot more clear-minded.
He was clear-minded, but then he only made it halfway through before getting weird and then going back to being, clear-minded again.
Yeah, he's playing around with, trying to figure out a cool moniker for himself. The Duke of Death, the Wicked King Wicker, the 22 Disciples of Hell, John Wheaties. Fucking guy is...
John Wheaties, rapist and suffocator of young girls.
Yeah.
That doesn't flow very well.
Was he raping young girls? Or was Sam raping young girls?
I don't know. At least as far as we know, I don't think David Berkowitz is convicted of any rape charges.
Right. But why is he throwing rapist in there? And then he never actually admitted to any rapes.
He probably fantasized about raping and suffocating young girls.
Well, I mean, let's
probably
be honest.
Couldn't, so
if
that's
you're
why
a
he lashed
man,
out at them. Very incel type behavior.
If you're a man and you're killing women, you have some deep-seated issues with women. you are an incel or you're inadequate or you feel inadequate or you've been made to feel inadequate by a woman, like you have something going on.
If you look at his early life, his issues stemmed from father figures, which is weird.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he be killing older men?
I don't know.
Well, it could be metaphorical as well. He could be raping and suffocating the lives from them.
That's true.
Was Sam just a made up guy that he was trying to please because he didn't have a father figure, a constant father figure that would keep his ass in line. So he made one up to keep his ass in line.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the one he made up to keep in line was a fucking psychopath that told him to kill. Murder, death, kill, blood, blood, blood.
I don't know. It's a good question, man. I mean, you can definitely see his kind of fucking descent from like psychopathy straight into the gutter. He absolutely fucking progresses really hard. David Berkowitz has got some fucking issues going on, but you can definitely see the difference between letters, like we said. Like that first letter in early May, he was definitely in like a hard form of psychosis during that. And in this one, you can absolutely see the difference in his writing.
Doesn't care about the publicity, but writes a letter to a news columnist.
Reverse psychology. I think he very much cared about the publicity.
Yeah, he's like, let me say I don't, so that way they feel okay giving me more publicity.
I don't want any publicity, but let me just throw out some possible names.
Yeah, and he's working on a fucking logo, for crying out loud, right? Did the Zodiac Killer come before Son of Sam? I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm not sure, but I think he did.
So is he trying to kind of like take
No, I think the Zodiac Killer was in 79.
Was the Zodiac Killer afterwards? Dave's on it with the information.
Info Dave. What's the answer?
Dave, pull it up.
1960s.
1960. So Zodiac
60s.
was first.
Okay,
1968 to 1969.
I was close. I was a decade off. But
so
when it comes to that, decade fucking matters.
So they would have been fresh, right? Like the Zodiac would have been fresh. And the Zodiac did have symbols. Like he was very big on symbols.
I don't know about fresh. That would be what?
About a decade
6 years.
old. So, I mean, he would have.
That would have been That would have been 6 years before his first murder. Fresh, I guess. Fresh
enough to where he would have seen the stuff on the news about the symbolism.
He definitely would have seen it.
Yeah. So, and he was definitely playing around with one. Like, I will put it in the show notes. I will put the symbol that he did have below the Jimmy Breslin.
He graduated in 1971. So that's like around the time when people are like very impressionable. So, that was like a couple years after high school. He's probably reading about the Zodiac Killer in newspapers.
Yeah. And the symbol does look very Zodiac-esque. Like, it does look like he was trying to kind of play off of the Zodiac Killer's symbolism.
Targeting couples.
Also a very common feature of the Zodiac. Yeah, I'll definitely put it in the show notes. It'll definitely be on paramurdercast.com.
Terrible grammar. Can't spell good.
Okay, that is definitely not in line with the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer's fucking... he was cryptic as could fucking be. Enough to where people still can't solve it or don't know if it's real or not real.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we'll cover that at some point in time. But let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the Lupo and Placido shootings.
He couldn't even wait until the anniversary, July 29th, I think it was.
Yeah.
Which would have been way better after sending a letter marking that day. But let's move on. On the early morning of June 26th, 1977, Bayside, Queens, was a setting for a terrifying event that would come to be associated with the notorious Son of Sam. The night had begun with promise for Salvatore Lupo and Judy Placido. Lupo, a 20-year-old mechanic's helper, and Placido, a 17-year-old recent high school graduate, had just left the Elfast Discotheque, a popular local night spot. The two had enjoyed their time at the club and were now sitting in Lupo's parked car, which nestled in the quiet streets of Bayside. It was around 3 a.m. when their peaceful outing took a dramatic turn. Suddenly, the calm of night was shattered by the explosive sound of 3 gunshots. The gunfire, swift and precise, blasted through the car with terrifying intensity. Lupo, caught by the surprise, felt a sharp pain in his right forearm as bullets tore through the vehicle. Placido was not as fortunate. She was struck by 3 bullets, one in her right temple, another in her shoulder, and a third in the back of her neck. Despite the severity of her injuries, both Lupo and Placido were incredibly fortunate to survive the brutal attack. In the chaotic moments that followed, Lupo managed to provide a crucial detail to the police. He revealed that just moments before the shooting, he and Placido had been discussing the Son of Sam case, a chilling coincidence that would later add a layer of unease to the investigation. The connection between their conversation and the attack was unsettling, suggesting that their discussion might have triggered the assailant's violence. Neither Lupo nor Placido had seen their attacker, leaving them unable to provide a clear description of the shooter. However, 2 witnesses came forward with significant observations. They reported seeing a tall, dark-haired man dressed in a leisure suit fleeing the scene shortly after the gunshots rang out. One of these witnesses went a step further, claiming to have seen the man get into a car and even managed to provide a partial license plate number. This information was vital, as it helped shape the investigation into the attack. As the police delved into the details of the attack, the description of the assailant and the timing of the shooting began to align with the patterns of the Son of Sam's previous crimes. The unsettling realization that the infamous killer might have struck again intensified the already high levels of fear and anxiety in the community. The investigation into the attack on Lupo and Placido became a crucial part of the broader manhunt for the elusive and terrifying figure responsible for the series of brutal attacks that had been plaguing New York City.
Man, what a fucking coincidence to be sitting there talking about it.
Why would you be sitting there in a setting, in a car, out in public, talking about events of people getting shot as a couple late at night?
Yeah, you just don't put that bad energy out there to the universe. I mean, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
Yeah.
You're semi-stitious?
Yeah. Enough to where I definitely wouldn't be in that situation. I mean, you could ask Katie right now, like, if she was like, hey, let's stop on this road and sit and talk about this killer, I'd be like, you mean stop on this road and sit and talk about a killer who kills people? Stop sitting on the road?
Yeah.
No.
How about we go home?
Yeah, let's go in a house and then we'll discuss this.
Behind locked doors that is much more secure than
But
a
still,
car.
The fucking irony of you actually sitting there talking about it and then he shoots you.
That just reminds me of the same thing that always happens when something like that pops into my head, that Key and Peele skit, Consequences.
It's fucking terrible, man. But it looks like for the first time they have like a small break. They get a partial license plate tag. They get a minor description. They still
finally witnesses this time.
Yeah, I know. It's like the first time because, I mean, we'll see later. That's how he gets caught, man. I mean, it's finally just somebody witnessing something at the right time. But, I mean, for the first time, they get the first little piece of it leading forward.
So let's move on to the Moskowitz and Violante shooting. As the first anniversary of the initial .44 caliber shootings approached, New York City was on high alert. Police had established an extensive dragnet, focusing their efforts on known hunting grounds in Queens and the Bronx, where the infamous Son of Sam had previously struck. However, the city was about to experience another chilling attack, and this time, the scene would shift to Brooklyn. In the early hours of July 31st, 1977, Stacy Moskowitz and Robert Violante, both 20 years old, were sharing a moment of romance on their first date. They had parked Violante's car under a streetlight near a city park in the Bath Beach neighborhood. The night was warm and the two were engaged in a tender kiss, unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. Without warning, a man approached their vehicle, coming within mere feet of the passenger side where Moskowitz was seated. In a swift and brutal act, he fired 4 rounds into the car, targeting both victims with deadly precision. The gunfire shattered the tranquility of the night and left Violante and Moskowitz in a state of grave peril. Violante was struck in the head, losing his left eye as a result of the attack, while Moskowitz, the only blonde victim in the series of shootings, was fatally wounded and died from her injuries. The assailant did not linger after executing the attack. He fled into the nearby park, vanishing into the darkness. The brutality of the crime and the senseless loss of Moskowitz's life added to the growing sense of fear and urgency among law enforcement and the public. That same night, Detective John Falotico was abruptly wakened at home and instructed to report to the 10th Homicide Division at the 60th Precinct Station House in Coney Island. The grim reality of the situation was clear. He was being assigned to the Moskowitz and Violante case for initial investigation. Salvatore was given 2 weeks to work on the case as a standard murder investigation. If he was unable to solve it within that period, the case would be transferred to the specialized Son of Sam task force, which was dedicated to tracking down the notorious killer responsible for a series of high-profile attacks. As Salvatore began his work on the case, the gravity of the situation weighed heavily on him. The shooting had not only claimed the life of a young woman, but had also intensified the ongoing hunt for the elusive Son of Sam. The city, already on edge from its previous attacks, now faced the chilling reality that the killer was still out there, striking with a relentless and terrifying efficiency. The investigation into the Moskowitz and Violante shooting became a critical focal point in the broader effort to capture the man who had instilled fear throughout New York City.
This is it, man. This is the fall. This is the big moment.
Slight change up, killed a blonde.
Yeah. This is finally the breaking point for David Berkowitz. I mean, our next part, we get into it, man. He finally gets put as a suspect. It took a long time, man. Like, when you actually start looking at this and how many shootings he was able to perpetrate, man, before actually becoming a suspect, you know, it just goes to show the difference between investigations 30, 40 years ago compared to now. You know what I mean? If you went out and tried to do this shit in our city and maybe the
6
surroundings,
cameras would capture you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would be busted immediately. They don't even have to capture you doing the shooting. They'll check cameras from the surrounding 40 fucking miles. You know what I mean? And you'll get caught driving away. They'll look at every camera with fucking AI and go, which car was in the vicinity of 40 fucking miles between all of these shootings? And they'll go, oh, it was this fucking silver Ford. And then boom, you're busted. It's came a long way, man.
Big Brother's always watching.
Absolutely, dude. Everybody's got a fucking Ring camera nowadays, man. Well, let's get into when he finally becomes a suspect, man.
All right. Local resident Cecilia Davis was out walking her dog near the scene of the Moskowitz Violante shooting when she noticed patrol officer Michael Catania issuing a parking ticket to a vehicle parked too close to a fire hydrant. Shortly after the officer left, Davis observed a young man walking away from the area of the ticketed car. The man seemed to scrutinize her with unusual interest while holding a dark object in his hand. Feeling uneasy, Davis hurried home, only to hear gunshots shortly thereafter. She kept this encounter to herself for 4 days before finally reaching out to the police. Authorities then examined all the vehicles that had been ticketed that night, including Berkowitz's yellow 1970 Ford Galaxy. On August 9th, 1977, NYPD Detective James Justice called the Yonkers Police Department to arrange an interview with David Berkowitz. The call was initially answered by Wheat Carr, the Yonkers police dispatcher and daughter of Sam Carr, who was also the sister of Berkowitz's alleged associates, John and Michael Carr. When Justice mentioned Berkowitz's name, Carr immediately responded, "Let me tell you about him. I know him. He lives right behind me." She also disclosed that Berkowitz had shot their family dog, a black Labrador retriever named Harvey, who belonged to her father Sam. This detail made Justice suspect that Berkowitz might indeed be the perpetrator they were seeking. Justice requested assistance from the Yonkers police to locate Berkowitz. Sergeant Mike Navanti of the Yonkers Police Department mentioned that they had already harbored suspicions about Berkowitz in relation to the unusual crimes in their area, which had been referenced in one of the Son of Sam letters. The Yonkers investigators even suggested to Justice that Berkowitz could very well be the Son of Sam.
So that was it, man. That's all it took.
Fucking parking ticket.
A parking ticket. He just happened to be walking away too close to his car, and one lady happened to notice him, and then he walked away with an object in his hand before she heard the shots that killed Violante. That's all it took. Now they were able to go back through, look at all the parking tickets, and boom, there's your suspect.
And the fact that he lived behind the fucking dispatcher who answered the call.
Yeah, and then it ties together super quick, right?
The dog, Harvey.
Yeah. She's like, oh, he killed our
Belonged to
neighbor's
Sam.
dog, belonged to Sam, Black Labrador Retriever, which is subsequently the Black Labrador Retriever that he thought was talking to him.
If the Black Labrador Retriever was the son of Sam, how could he be the son of Sam?
Exactly.
The
I don't know,
Labrador
man.
is Harvey.
He's possessed by the son of Sam.
Yeah, possessed by the son of Sam. So possessed by the Black Labrador Retriever. It's actually a valid point from Dave over there. Shooting them facts. Pretty much right after they tie this together. I mean, swiftly. Let's see here. What day did they call in? That was on August 9th that the call happened. On August 10th.
On August 10th, 1977, the day after the shooting, police examined David Berkowitz's car, which is parked outside his apartment building at 35 Pine Street in Yonkers. During their inspections, officers spotted a gun on the back seat and proceeded to search the vehicle. Inside, they discovered a duffel bag containing ammunition, detailed maps of crime scenes, and a menacing letter addressed to Inspector Timothy Dowd of the Son of Sam Task Force. Concerned about a potential violent confrontation and wanting to avoid legal complications, the police chose to wait until Berkowitz left his apartment before taking action. They also waited for a search warrant for the apartment to ensure that any evidence found would be admissible in court. Despite the handgun being visible in the car, an item that was legal in New York State and required no special permit, the officers decided to proceed carefully. Around 10 p.m., as Berkowitz exited his apartment and got into his car, the warrant had still not arrived. Detective John Falatigo approached the driver's side and aimed his gun close at Berkowitz's temple, while Detective Sergeant William Gardella covered him from the passenger side. Next to Berkowitz in the car, police found a paper bag containing a .44 caliber Bulldog revolver, the same type of weapon identified in earlier ballistics tests. Berkowitz, upon being confronted, simply said, "Well, got me." Detective Falatigo recalled that Berkowitz's demeanor included an inexplicable smile. In a memorable exchange, Falatigo asked, "Now that I've got you, who have I got?" Berkowitz responded in a soft, almost sweet voice, "You know." When Falatigo pressed further, asking, "No, I don't. You tell me," Berkowitz turned his head and said, "I'm Sam." An alternate account suggests that Berkowitz's initial words were, "Well, you got me. How come it took you such a long time?" Falatigo was officially recognized by the NYPD as the arresting officer of the Son of Sam. Following Berkowitz's arrest, his apartment building's address was changed from 35 Pine Street to 42 Pine Street. To avoid the building's newfound infamy, Berkowitz was briefly detained at a Yonkers police station before being transferred directly to the 60th Precinct in Coney Island, where the Son of Sam Task Force was based. At around 1 a.m., Mayor Abraham Beam visited the precinct to personally view the suspect. After a brief and silent encounter, Beam addressed the media stating, "The people of the city of New York can rest easy because the police have captured a man whom they believe to be the Son of Sam." You know.
Yeah,
No, I don't. You tell me.
He told on
I'm
himself
Sam.
pretty quick. So that just goes to show, man. Usually those guys who want infamy, they fess up immediately. You know, you point a gun at them and they're like, "Well,
Now,
you got me, boss."
I do believe they did the right thing trying to wait for a warrant. I'm not sure if seeing a firearm in a car is cause for police to investigate a vehicle. That still might be violating Fourth Amendment rights.
Yeah, depends on the state.
Not if they're conducting an investigation, specifically to a yellow car they keep seeing drive away from all these crime scenes.
Yeah,
True.
but
that,
like they
that
said-
would give them probable cause. So,
Yeah,
At least to detain them.
Well, like they said, they were just trying to be careful to make sure, like, hey, once we open this, you know what I mean, and we grab all this shit and we grab him, we want to make sure everything's admissible in court. Better to be safe than sorry, right? If you're going to do it right. Make sure that when you get them, there's like no cause of argument for, you know,
but yeah,
what evidence can be
trying to
used.
wait for a warrant. Yeah, that's the right course of action.
Yeah.
But then when you see the dude and you don't have your warrant, you put his gun to his head and be like, "Hey," and then he goes, "Well, you got me." Oh yeah, that's definitely cause right there.
Yeah, that's it.
That's reasonable suspicion. Arrest that dude immediately. Detain him.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Like I said, he confesses pretty quick, man. He doesn't try to hold it in.
Well, let's get into that confession then. In the early hours of August 11th, 1977, David Berkowitz was interrogated for approximately 30 minutes. During this brief session, he confessed to the shootings and showed a willingness to plead guilty. The interrogation was led by John Keenan, who documented Berkowitz's confession. During questioning, Berkowitz attributed his actions to a disturbing belief that his neighbor's dog, Harvey, was possessed by an ancient demon demanding the blood of young women. He claimed that the Sam mentioned in his first letter referred to his former neighbor Sam Carr, and suggested that Harvey, Carr's black Labrador, was directing him to kill. A few weeks after his arrest, Berkowitz was allowed to communicate with the press. In a letter to the New York Post dated September 19th, 1977, he referenced his previous claim of demonic possession, but concluded with a statement interpreted by some investigators as suggesting he had accomplices. There are other sons out there. God help the world. However, in a press conference held in February 1979, Berkowitz admitted that his earlier assertions about demonic possession were fabricated. Later, in discussions with his court-appointed psychiatrist, David Abrahamson, Berkowitz revealed that he had been contemplating murder as a form of revenge against the world he felt had rejected and wronged him.
Incel confirmed.
Well, it's also interesting, right? Do you think that was his psychopathy that led him to kill the dog? I mean, that kind of confirms that psychopathy, right? Like, if he thought the dog was possessed, he killed the dog.
And then what? The demon transferred to him?
I don't know. I wonder if he was actually really, like,
I mean, just 2 years later, he said that he made all that shit up.
So, yeah, but it's just that question, right? Like, you can walk stuff back. You can do all kinds of stuff, right? But, like, a lot of people debated, did he make it up or did he really believe it? But he killed the dog, so I feel like there was something to that.
Well, a lot of serial killers harm animals before they start harming people.
Yeah. And one thing I would like to do, man, just for a good listener suggestion, man, if you're listening to this part 2, man, and you are interested in hearing more about the theory of there being more Sons of Sam out there, there's actually a really good documentary. It's a series that's on Netflix right now, and it's called The Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness. I actually watched it. It's really good, but that's the entire basis of the documentary. I can't remember the guy's name. Give me 1 second. Maury Terry. He actually is famously known for believing that the Sons of Sam is a thing, and that Son of Sam never acted alone, and that it was kind of a cult, and that they had been killing for years, and that he actually was just one son cult, and that they kept killing after David Berkowitz.
And then rather give them up, he goes, oh, it was all fabricated.
Exactly. So for him, he believes it's like a cult. And he was, he was famously like obsessed with the Sons of Sam. So, and that documentary again is on Netflix. And just one more time, that's the Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness. Check it out. It's really good.
Well, let's get into this dude's sentencing, because he fucking deserved it. 3 separate mental health evaluations confirmed that Berkowitz was mentally fit to stand trial. Despite this, his defense attorneys recommended he plead not guilty by reason of insanity, but Berkowitz rejected this advice. On May 8th, 1978, he appeared composed in court as he admitted guilt to all the shootings. However, during his sentencing 2 weeks later, Berkowitz caused chaos by attempting to leap from a 7th floor courtroom window. After being subdued, he repeatedly shouted, "Stacy," who was his last victim, was a whore, and I'd kill her again. I'd kill them all again. This behavior prompted the court to order another psychiatric evaluation before proceeding with the sentencing. During this examination, Berkowitz sketched a drawing of a man imprisoned by multiple walls, captioned with, "I am not well at all." Despite this, he was once again deemed competent to stand trial. On June 12th, 1978, Berkowitz received a sentence of 25 years to life for each murder, to be served consecutively. He was sent to Attica Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison in upstate New York. Although prosecutors opposed it, Berkowitz's guilty plea allowed him to be eligible for parole after 25 years. Following his arrest, Berkowitz was initially placed in a psychiatric ward at Kings County Hospital, where staff noted his significant distress in his new surroundings. The day after his sentencing, he was transferred to Sing Sing Prison and later to Clinton Correctional Facility for further psychiatric and physical assessments. After spending 2 months at the Central New York Psychiatric Center in Marcy, he was moved to Attica Prison. Berkowitz spent about a decade at Attica before being transferred to Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg around 1990, where he stayed for many years. He was later moved to Shawanagon Correctional Facility in Ulster County. Berkowitz described his time at Attica as a nightmare. In 1979, an attempt was made on Berkowitz's life when his neck was slashed from front to back, requiring over 50 stitches to close the wound. He refused to identify his attacker and expressed gratitude for the assault, stating that it brought a sense of justice, describing it as the punishment I deserve.
What a fucking weirdo, man. So I hate seeing that whole fucking, I'm a murderer, I love it, I enjoy it, I'd kill him again, into the whole, it's the fucking punishment that I deserved, you know what I mean? I don't buy that shit half the time. You know what I mean? I don't buy it that they all of a sudden feel remorse. Just like my fucking, I cannot stand prison faith, which is the next thing we're going to get into, but I hate that shit, man. I hate when these guys go in there. You didn't live right at all outside of prison, and then now all of a sudden you find yourself, now that they've taken things away, this time in Attica was a nightmare. Good, it should have been a fucking nightmare. You caused a nightmare.
Well, I mean, technically, prison is not supposed to be punishment. It's supposed to be rehabilitation.
I get it, but I mean...
It's not exactly what it is, but that's what it's supposed to be.
All these guys find faith in prison. They all feel guilty when they're caught. You know what I mean? But if you would have let him out that day, he wouldn't have felt any guilt. And he definitely wouldn't have found faith or any of that shit.
If he would have gotten the parole and gotten outside and got his hands on a 44,
he probably would have killed somebody.
Probably would have killed somebody.
That could have been why he said it was the punishment he deserved. It could have been all just a big mind game, manipulation.
Yeah, I feel like the whole put in the, denying.
That's what you say at the parole board.
This is the punishment I deserve.
Right? Like
I did my time. I found Jesus.
His lawyers are like, hey, man, you should plead, guilty by reason of insanity. And he's
not guilty by reason.
Yeah, not guilty by reason of insanity. And he's like, no, I don't want to. But then tries to jump out of a window and acts crazy. Like, was that just a really good ploy to try to make it believable that he is insane?
Well, thank God that the court was all like, no, he's fit to stand trial.
Yeah. I just believe some people can't be rehabilitated. And, guys along his measure, I don't think can be rehabilitated. I think it's all an act. I think that psychopathy makes them, kind of a sociopath, right? They tell you what you want to hear when they're in a situation where they're caught.
Yeah, that's the sense I get from it with the whole punishment I deserve nonsense.
He's telling you what you want to hear to try to make himself look better.
A little bit of a pity party.
Pity me, man.
Especially, I got what I deserve.
Especially because he had a possibility of parole. What the fuck were they thinking, man? 25 years with a possibility of parole? Especially when you got consecutive 25-year life sentences. How do you get a fucking possibility of parole in 25 then? You only have to serve one murder, basically?
I think if you murder one person and you show remorse and shit, maybe you get parole. You kill more than one person, no fucking parole for you.
Yeah, no. That's it. Done data.
Unless it was like, you crashed into somebody and killed 2 people in a car crash. Okay, maybe you get parole. But if you intentionally kill, maim, hurt more than one person, that's basically premeditated. No, you don't deserve fucking parole.
Oh, his shit's all 100% premeditated. That man was fucking out of his mind, dude. But yeah, no parole. No reason for it, man. That's one reason I get on all the Canadians. So if we have Canadian listeners, I'm sorry. But your guys' justice system fucking sucks.
I'm not sorry at all, dude. Everybody knows most Canadians are cannibals, and the whole nice guy thing is just an act.
What are you talking about?
Sorry.
All right. Let's get into some of that old prison faith, though. So in 1987, Berkowitz experienced a religious conversion and became an evangelical Christian while in prison. He credits his transformation to reading Psalm 34:6 from a Bible given to him by a fellow inmate. He now prefers to be known as the Son of Hope rather than the Son of Sam. Shortly after his imprisonment, Berkowitz invited Malachi Martin, an exorcist, to assist him in writing an autobiography, but Martin declined. In later years, Berkowitz wrote his memoirs with help from fellow evangelicals. His story was shared in a 1998 video titled Son of Hope, and a more comprehensive account was published in 2006 as Son of Hope, The Prison Journals of David Berkowitz. Berkowitz does not receive any royalties from the sale of these works. He continues to write essays on faith and repentance for evangelical websites. A church group maintains these websites on Berkowitz's behalf since he is not allowed internet access. Berkowitz remains active in prison ministry and regularly provides counsel to other inmates. While at Sullivan, he pursued his education and graduated with honors from Sullivan Community College. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Son of Hope.
That's not what are you fucking kidding me about? Now, I don't think it should be a financial privilege or a financial right to higher education.
Yeah.
But let me be clear. Higher education is a privilege, not a right. You have to work towards higher education.
Yeah, so you should get the high school, not the college.
I don't think it should be based financially. You have a right to learn, but it is also a privilege. And I don't think nobody has to teach you anything because it's your right to,
Yeah.
It's your privilege. You show initiative, you do that, However, when you go to prison, I think you should be allowed to learn all that stuff, but I don't think you should be allowed to graduate with honors.
How fucking weird
as
is
a felon like that?
That you get to that he's a minister in a prison.
Well, I bet he's happy. Have you changed your mind yet on the whole death penalty, or just do you think he's better off suffering in prison? Seems to be doing quite well.
Well, again,
he's graduated college.
Again, here's the thing. I won't change my mind because I believe in 24-hour lockup. Okay, he's not being 24-hour locked up, right? I believe, being thrown in a cell row of just poof, you're in the room and you're never fucking coming back out, right? When you get a shower, it's not enjoyable. They just open the door with a fucking hose of cold water and just spray your bitch ass down. You know what I mean? And then shut the door again. Let it drain, let the water drain down a floor. Maybe throw them in a fucking, little piece of cloth. Like, you want to dry off? Here you go. Like, almost a form of torture, right? Like, I don't believe you should ever come out of the fucking hole you're thrown in. Like, of course he's enjoying it, man. He's probably, what's the word I'm searching for here?
Living his best life?
No. What is it where they...
Well, not his best life. The guy's making a good situation out of a bad situation.
The guys in prison that they give rights to. Trustee. I was trying to think of it. He's probably a really, really high up trustee. He gets to do whatever he wants to do. I mean, no, I don't agree with his. I think he should absolutely be taken and locked up 24 hours a day. If you're never going to let him out of prison, why are we rehabilitating him? Quote unquote, if they're rehabilitating him. You know what I mean? You're never going to let him out. Why the fuck are we investing in it? Put him in a hole and leave him there. You know what I mean? And he definitely doesn't need to be giving any fucking ministry advice to anybody in prison. That should be somebody from the outside who is,
prison,
not a criminal.
Listening to other people from prison.
The self-proclaimed Beelzebub fucking is buying your ticket to heaven.
Yeah, now he's the son of hope. Like, just the fact that he keeps the fucking moniker son of and then changed it to hope. You think that's some kind of fucking weird
son
play
of bullshit?
Yeah,
son of full of shit.
Imagine just being a good Christian boy with a bunch of unpaid fines and you end up in the same prison as him. You're like, I'm going to church.
Yeah,
and then you get some fucking blasphemous asshole.
Yeah, you find out the pastor was a fucking spree serial killer. And believe it or not, he gets a fucking parole hearing.
No, of course.
Well, state law entitles Berkowitz to a parole hearing every 2 years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But he has consistently designed to seek his release, sometimes even opting to not attend the hearings. Now, before his first parole hearing in 2002, Berkowitz wrote a letter to New York Governor George Pataki requesting the hearing be canceled, stating that he believed he deserved to remain in prison for the rest of his life. Sullivan facility officials denied his request. So even though he wanted it, canceled, they're like, no, you get your parole hearing.
Yeah, it has to be on record, right? They have to play that smart. If he's able to go, hey, cancel my parole hearing, and then they cancel it for him, and then 2 years later, his lawyers are like,
you didn't do
you didn't do his parole hearing. That could cause some issues. So they're like,
violated his rights. I'm sorry, you killed people. You're in prison. You're not afforded the same rights as a normal citizen.
Yeah. So they have to make sure to keep it on record, keep it tight, keep it clean.
Because that goes against, the whole death. You've got a right to live. You've got a right to survive. Well, some people might argue that you don't even get that. Anyway, at his 2016 hearing in Shawangunk, New York, Berkowitz acknowledged that parole was unrealistic, but emphasized that he had made significant personal improvements while incarcerated. He stated, I feel I am no risk whatsoever. His attorney, Mark Heller, noted that prison staff viewed Berkowitz as a model prisoner. Despite this, his parole was denied. Berkowitz's 12th parole hearing was denied in May 2024. So it seems he is still alive.
Boo.
Ahead of the hearing, he admitted to the Post that he knew his chances of being granted parole were slim, but he still attended. To not attend a hearing can be viewed as being defiant towards authority, and that's not me. Berkowitz explained, most of all, I intend to openly apologize for my past crimes and to express my remorse. His next parole hearing is scheduled for May 2026.
Well, I hope he doesn't survive till then.
That goes with that every 2 years they have to do a parole hearing.
He'll survive.
That's fucking crazy. He
has better health care in there than we do out here right now.
Yeah, I know.
Better education, too.
I'm about to pay all my savings for this procedure I just had, so.
Yeah.
Think about it, man.
I wouldn't have to in there, man.
Get
you
a gun,
would pay
go
for
blast
it.
a few people. And
yeah, well, he doesn't
education.
get a fucking standard wage like that. The state pays for all his fucking medical problems. He's going to outlive me, and he's fucking 40 years older than I don't know how old he is, but.
We should just send Dave up there, man, to the hearing. Let him go in there.
What's he going to do, kill him and then end up in prison himself?
No, just walk in there and be like, guilty. Go shoot him. Take him out back.
They should have. It's a waste of money, waste of time.
So here's the thing. I do get why we have a due process. Because we can kill people who are innocent.
To the process, it's worth spending people that are due on. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no doubt that he committed these crimes. 100% he did it.
Yeah.
He is not innocent.
That's the hard part, right?
So why is he getting due process?
Because we have a family member. I had to look up the book again. Maybe I'll find it and throw it in the show notes because it's actually a pretty cool book. But we have a family member and our, I think it's my mother's, I think it's her uncle or great uncle, but it's 19 years and not guilty. So he was in prison for 19 years for a murder and finally found not guilty. And he was released and given like $250, I believe. And then that was it. They just let him out and was like, oh, our bad. Here's $250. Have a good day. After he served 19 years. So, but he wrote a book and, like I said, I'll post it in the show notes, but I get why there's a due process, but yeah, I agree with you. Like when it's just non-negotiable, this is the person, Again, I don't really side with the fact of just taking him out back and shooting him just because I believe that lets him off the hook. But I definitely think you should take him to a cell with no lights,
Yeah, if I was thrown in jail for 19 years, innocent and convicted of murder, I would have lawyers draw up shit so fucking quick for the salary that I would have stood to made and would have sued the state for that amount of money. Minimum.
Let me find it. His name was Leonard Hankins.
Fucking minimum. That doesn't account for pain and suffering. That doesn't account for all the shit that I had to deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go. The book is called 19 Years Not Guilty, and it is the story of Leonard Hankins in his own words. So, and that's one of my family members. My family is the Hankins. Spent 19 years. I believe he was just walking by. There was a robbery, like a bank robbery, and the guy shot a cop upon exiting, and he was just walking by, and they arrested him, and he was thrown in prison. And of course, you know, there came the hearsay. People were like, was this the guy? And they were like, yeah, that's him. And so he was sentenced to life in prison for shooting a cop. And then after 19 years, he was found not guilty. They found the real killer, and he was released. And like I said, I think they just gave him $250.
$250. That's fucking horseshit.
Hit the road, Jack. You're free. But
it'd be like the state's going to be in some fucking severe, because 19 years, you can get a pretty fucking brutal lawyer to go up for you.
I also hate the model inmate stuff. You know who else was a model inmate, guys? Edmund Kemper from episode 1. He was a model inmate.
You know who else should have had the death penalty? Edmund Kemper.
Edmund Kemper from episode 1. So,
but also he's out there living his best life in jail.
Yeah, he is actually. So, that man has a ton of Audible books. So, what do you guys think, man? Good episode 3? I enjoyed it.
Episode 3 and 4?
3 and 4? True. Yeah. 2-parter. Our first 2-parter, man. I think it was a good one for our first 2-parter. We really could have done Edmund Kemper as a 2-parter as well, but we went a little long on it, and we condensed it a little bit. So hopefully the listeners appreciate if we start breaking stuff out. That way we don't have to cut out any information, and we can get through as much of it as we can for you guys.
Yeah, if you're still here, we love you.
Yeah, you are the best. To the PMCs out there, man. I'm gonna have to make some merch now for the PMCs, man.
So we already got merch for the PMCs.
We do, but we're gonna have to actually put PMC on it. You know what I mean? Instead of Paramurdercast, we're gonna start calling them the PMCs, man.
I'm not 100% sure, like if that's like a military. I don't know. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do that, but we might just want to check because like stuff like what is it? The
copyrighted.
The Red Cross. You can't put the Red Cross in video games and shit like that.
Yeah.
So
we'll check it. We can't call you guys the PMCs. We'll call you something else. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate anybody who's listening, man. You guys are awesome. Make sure to stop by the paramurdercast.com. Has the links to everything there you need, man. Episode show notes for this will be added to it. You go to paramurdercast.com at the top, go to episode, and from there you can find both lists for paranormal and for true crime for upcoming episodes. And you can find all the show notes from all the episodes there as well as the merch store is up there at the top. So stop in, get yourself a t-shirt. If you see any merch that you wish was on the store, man, if you're like, hey, I wish they had a hoodie in this collar, please hit us up at info@paramurdercast.com and let me know. I will add that to the merch store. I appreciate it again.
Great episode, guys. You got any final words, David?
Nope.
All right. Well, check us out next time. I'm not sure what the next episode is, but we'd love to have you there to listen. Remember, Paramurdercast, where the unseen becomes the unforgettable.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you join us again. Until then, may your nights be restless and your dreams haunted. And beware the things that go bump in the night.